The emperor sat up in his bed, gasping for air. His heart pounded against his ribs. Sweat covered his skin despite the cool night breeze flowing through the open windows. The dream had come again. The same woman, the same soft voice calling his name, the same gentle touch on his face that disappeared the moment he tried to hold it. He pressed his palms against his eyes and breathed slowly. This made 300 nights. 300 times he had seen her face in his sleep. 300 mornings he had woken alone. Emperor Matthias of Valentia was the most powerful man in the realm. He ruled 7 provinces and commanded armies that made kingdoms tremble, but he could not command his own dreams to stop haunting him. He stood and walked to the window. Dawn was breaking over the palace gardens. Gold and pink light touched the roses below. Somewhere in the servants' quarters, a woman was waking who would change everything, but he did not know that yet. In a small room beneath the eastern tower, Sarah opened her eyes. Her back ached from the thin mattress. Her hands were rough and cracked from washing floors. She had been at the palace for 6 months now, scrubbing stones and emptying chamber pots. No one looked at her, no one spoke to her, unless giving orders. She rose and dressed in her grey servant's dress. The fabric was worn thin at the elbows. She tied her dark hair back with a strip of cloth. When she caught her reflection in a broken piece of mirror, she looked away quickly. Plain face, ordinary brown eyes, nothing special. That was what her stepmother had always said. Sarah had no family now. Her father had died 2 years ago. Her stepmother had sold their small house and kept the money. Sarah was sent away with nothing. She found work where she could. The palace took her in because they always needed more hands to scrub and clean. She picked up her bucket and brush. Another day of making herself invisible. Another day of surviving. But today would be different. Today, fate would begin to weave its thread. Matthias sat through the morning council meeting without hearing a word. His advisors discussed trade routes and border disputes. His generals argued about troop placements. He nodded when expected. He signed documents placed before him. His mind was elsewhere. Lord Chancellor Bram noticed. He had served 3 emperors and could read them all like books. After the meeting ended, he lingered. "Your Majesty seems troubled," Bram said carefully. Matthias looked at the old man. Bram had kind eyes and a gentle manner. If anyone could be trusted, it was him. "I dream of a woman every night," Matthias admitted. "The same woman. I see her face clearly. I hear her voice. But when I wake, she is gone." Bram's eyebrows rose. "How long has this been happening?" "Nearly a year now." The Chancellor stroked his white beard. "Dreams can be powerful things, Your Majesty. Perhaps the gods are trying to tell you something. Or perhaps I am simply losing my mind," Matthias said bitterly. "You are lonely," Bram said simply. "You have been emperor for 10 years. You have never taken a wife. You have never allowed yourself to care for anyone. Perhaps your soul is crying out for companionship." Matthias stood and walked to the window. "My duty is to the empire, not to myself. A man cannot serve others if his own spirit is dying." Bram replied. "Even an emperor is still a man." Matthias said nothing. What could he say? That he was afraid, that everyone he had ever loved had been taken from him. His mother had died giving him life. His father had fallen in battle when Matthias was 12. His younger sister had succumbed to fever at 16. He had learned that love meant loss. Better to love nothing than to lose everything again. But the dreams would not stop. Sierra scrubbed the floor of the portrait gallery. Her knees hurt against the hard stone. Her hands were red and raw. She worked slowly, carefully. If she missed even one spot, The head housekeeper would strike her with a wooden spoon. She paused to rest for just a moment. Her eyes traveled up to the paintings on the walls. Emperors and empresses from centuries past looked down at her. Their faces were proud and beautiful. They wore jewels and fine clothes. They had never scrubbed a floor in their lives. The largest portrait showed the current emperor, Emperor Matthias. She had never seen him in person. Servants like her were kept to the back corridors and lower floors, but his portrait showed a handsome man with dark hair and serious grey eyes. He looked sad, she thought. Even in a painting meant to show his power and glory, something in those painted eyes looked empty. "Stop staring and get back to work." The sharp voice made Sarah jump. The head housekeeper, Mistress Holt, stood behind her with arms crossed. The woman's face was hard and mean. She seemed to enjoy finding fault with everyone. "I am sorry," Mistress Sarah said quickly. She dipped her brush and returned to scrubbing. "Lazy girl," Mistress Holt muttered. "You are lucky we keep you here at all, and nobody from nowhere. You should be grateful for every crust of bread we give you." Sarah bit her lip and said nothing. Words would only make things worse. She had learned that lesson many times. Mistress Holt swept away, her keys jingling at her belt. Sarah let out a slow breath. Her chest felt tight. Sometimes the weight of being worthless pressed down so hard she could barely breathe. But she could not give up. She had nowhere else to go. That night, the dream came again. But this time it was different. Matthias walked through a garden filled with white roses. The moon was full overhead. He could smell the flowers, sweet and strong. Then he heard her voice behind him. "Matthias." He turned. She stood there, just as always, long dark hair that fell past her shoulders, brown eyes that seemed to see into his soul, a simple white dress that moved in the breeze. She was not the most beautiful woman he had ever seen, but something about her face made his heart ache. "Who are you?" he asked. He always asked. She never answered, but tonight she smiled. "You know who I am." "I do not," he said. He took a step toward her. Usually she faded when he moved. But tonight she stayed solid and real. "You do," she repeated. "You have always known. You just have not found me yet. Where are you?" His voice came out desperate. "How do I find you?" She reached out and touched his face. Her hand was warm and real. "I am closer than you think. I am waiting for you to see me." "I am looking," he said. His throat felt tight. "I am always looking." "Then open your eyes," she whispered. "I am already here." He tried to grab her hand, tried to hold on, but the dream was fading. She was fading. Her voice echoed as everything went dark. "Find me. I am here. I am real." Matthias woke with tears on his face. He got out of bed and dressed quickly. It was still dark outside. The palace slept around him. But he could not stay in his room. He needed to move, needed to think. He walked through the corridors without purpose. His feet carried him downstairs and through passages he rarely used. He passed through the portrait gallery. Moonlight streamed through the tall windows, making the paintings glow. That was when he heard it. A soft sound. Someone crying. He stopped and listened. The sound came from a side corridor. He followed it. Around the corner, he found a young woman sitting on the floor. She wore a grey servant's dress. Her face was hidden in her hands. Her shoulders shook with silent sobs. Matthias should have walked away. Emperors did not concern themselves with crying servants, but something made him stay. Something made him speak. "Are you hurt?" The woman gasped and looked up. Her face was blotchy from crying. Her eyes were red and swollen. She scrambled to her feet and dropped into a clumsy curtsy. Your Majesty, I am sorry. I did not know anyone was here. I will go immediately. She started to run, but Matthias held up a hand. Wait. She froze. Her whole body trembled with fear. I asked if you are hurt, Matthias said more gently. Are you injured? No, Your Majesty, she whispered. Her eyes stayed fixed on the floor. Then why do you cry? Sarah did not know what to say. The Emperor himself was speaking to her. This could not be real. She must have fallen asleep while scrubbing. This must be a dream. I am just tired, Your Majesty, she finally said. I meant no disrespect. I will return to work. At this hour? Matthias looked toward a window. It is the middle of the night. I fell behind in my duties, Sarah explained. I must finish before morning or I will be punished. Matthias frowned. What is your name? Sarah, Your Majesty. Look at me, Sarah. It was a command. She had to obey. Slowly, she raised her eyes to his face. The moment their eyes met, Matthias felt the world tilt. His breath caught in his throat. Those eyes, that face, the gentle curve of her cheek, the way her hair fell around her shoulders even though it was supposed to be tied back. It was her, the woman from his dreams. She was real. She was here. She had been here all along. Sarah saw something strange happen to the Emperor's face. His eyes went wide. His mouth opened slightly. He stared at her like he had seen a ghost. Your Majesty, she asked nervously, are you well? Matthias could not speak. His heart pounded so hard he thought it might break through his ribs. How was this possible? How could a woman from his dreams be standing in front of him as a flesh and blood servant in his own palace? He found his voice at last. How long have you worked here? 6 months, Your Majesty. 6 months. Half a year. She had been living under his roof for half a year, while he dreamed of her every night. The gods were either cruel or had a twisted sense of humor. Come with me, he said. Your Majesty? Sarah's voice shook. Had she done something wrong? Was she about to be thrown out into the street? You will not be punished, Matthias said, reading her fear. I wish to speak with you. Come. He turned and walked. After a moment of frozen panic, Sarah followed. What choice did she have? An emperor's word was law. He led her to a small sitting room. A fire burned low in the fireplace. He gestured to a chair. Sit. Sarah stared at the fine furniture. She could not sit there. Servants did not sit in the presence of nobility, let alone an emperor. I cannot, Your Majesty. It would not be proper. I am commanding you to sit, Matthias said. His voice was firm but not unkind. Please. The word please from an emperor's mouth shocked her more than anything else. Slowly, as if the chair might bite her, Sarah sat on the very edge of the cushion. Her back was straight as a rod. Her hands gripped her knees. Matthias sat across from her. He studied her face in the firelight. Every detail was exactly as he had seen in his dreams. The small scar above her left eyebrow, the way her bottom lip was slightly fuller than her top lip, the delicate shape of her ears. Do you dream, Sarah? He asked. The question surprised her. Sometimes, Your Majesty. What do you dream about? She hesitated. This had to be some kind of test, but she could not lie to the Emperor. I dream about a man, she admitted quietly. The same man every night. He walks in a garden. He looks lost. I want to help him, but I cannot reach him. The air left Matthias's lungs. How long have you had these dreams? Almost a year, Your Majesty. They started before I came to the palace. At first I thought they meant nothing, but they never stop. Every single night I see him. Every morning I wake up feeling like I have lost something important. Matthias leaned back in his chair. His mind raced. This was impossible. This defied all logic and reason. But it was happening. "Do you know who the man is?" he asked. Sarah looked at him fully for the first time. Really looked at him, at his dark hair. His grey eyes, the sadness that lived in them, the strong line of his jaw, the way his shoulders carried invisible weight. Her eyes went wide, her hands flew to her mouth. "It is you," she whispered. "You are the man in my dreams." Neither of them spoke for a long moment. The fire crackled, the clock on the mantel ticked. The world had just shifted under both their feet, and they were trying not to fall. "I have dreamed of you every night for 300 nights, Matthias said. His voice was rough with emotion. "I thought I was going mad. I searched everywhere for you. I did not know you were here, right here in my own home. I do not understand," Sarah said. Her hands twisted in her lap. "Why would you dream of me? I am no one. I am nothing." "You are not nothing," Matthias said sharply. Then more gently, "You are not nothing." Tears filled Sarah's eyes. No one had ever said such a thing to her before. Not with such certainty, not with such conviction. "I am just a servant, Your Majesty. I scrub floors and empty chamber pots. I have no family, no money, no beauty, no worth. I am less than nothing." "Who told you that?" Matthias demanded. Anger flared in his chest. "Who made you believe such lies?" "Everyone," Sarah said simply. "My stepmother said I was a burden. The servants here say I am lucky they even let me eat their scraps. I know my place, Your Majesty. I am grateful for it." Matthias stood and paced to the fire. He gripped the mantle hard. Rage and pity warred inside him. How could anyone treat another person this way? How could anyone make this gentle woman believe she had no value? "What if I told you that I believe the gods sent us these dreams for a reason?" he said, still facing the fire. "What if I told you that I think you are meant to be something more than a servant?" Sarah's breath caught. "Your Majesty, I do not understand." He turned to face her. His expression was intense. "I think we are meant to be together. I think that is why we dream. The gods are showing us our path." "Together?" Sarah shook her head. "That is impossible. You are the emperor. I am nobody. You are the only person who has made me feel anything in 10 years, Matthias said. The words burst out of him. "I have been alone for so long. I have been empty. But when I dream of you, I feel alive. And now you are here, real. Not just a dream. How can that be coincidence?" Sarah stood on shaking legs. This was too much. This was madness. "Your Majesty, you do not know me. You only know a dream. I am not what you think I am." "Then let me know you," Matthias said. He took a step toward her. "Let me learn who you truly are. Give me a chance." "A chance for what?" Sarah asked. She felt dizzy. This could not be happening. "To see if the dreams are real," Matthias said. "To see if what I feel when I sleep is true when I am awake." "And if it is not," Sarah whispered, "what happens to me then?" Matthias saw the fear in her eyes. She was terrified. Of course she was. He was offering her something impossible, something that could raise her up or destroy her completely. "Then you will have a better position in the palace," he said. "Better quarters, better treatment. You will never scrub another floor. I promise you that at the very least." Sarah wanted to say no, wanted to run back to her small room and pretend this night had never happened. But something in his eyes stopped her, something desperate and hopeful and real. He was as lonely as she was. He was as lost. The dreams had haunted him too. They were both searching for the same thing without knowing what it was. Maybe the gods did have a plan. Maybe dreams could come true. "What do you want me to do?" she asked. Relief flooded Matthias's face. "Move into the guest wing. Take time to rest and recover from your labors. We will meet each day and talk. Get to know each other. See if the connection we feel in sleep exists when we are awake. And if people talk." Sarah asked, "If they say terrible things about me, about you?" "Let them talk," Matthias said. "I am the emperor. I do as I please, and what pleases me is to know you better." Sarah took a deep breath. This was the craziest thing she had ever done, but she nodded. "Yes, Your Majesty, I will try." The smile that broke across Matthias's face transformed him. For just a moment he looked young and hopeful and almost happy. "Thank you," he said softly. "Thank you for taking a chance on a foolish man's dream." The sun rose on a new day. Sarah was moved to a beautiful room in the guest wing. It had a real bed with soft blankets, a window that overlooked the gardens, a wardrobe filled with simple but clean dresses in blues and greens and soft greys. Nothing fancy, nothing too fine, but better than anything she had ever owned. A lady's maid named Greta came to help her bathe and dress. Greta was older, with a kind face and gentle hands. "Are you the one the Emperor has taken an interest in?" Greta asked as she brushed Sarah's hair. "I do not know what I am," Sarah admitted. "Well, whatever you are, you have caused quite a stir," Greta said. "The whole palace is talking." A servant girl moving into the guest wing, His Majesty requesting her presence for dinner. "It is all very mysterious." "What are they saying?" Sarah asked nervously. "Some say you must be very beautiful or very clever to catch his eye," Greta said. "Others say you must have bewitched him somehow, but I say it is none of their business. His Majesty has been alone too long. If he has found someone who makes him smile, then I say good for him." The Sarah looked at her reflection in the mirror. She did not look bewitching, she just looked like herself, plain and ordinary. But maybe that was enough. Maybe that was all the Emperor needed. Someone real, someone ordinary, someone who could understand loneliness. That evening, Sarah had dinner with Matthias in a small private dining room. She sat across from him at a table covered with fine foods. More food than she had seen in her entire life. "Please, eat," Matthias encouraged. "You are too thin. You have been working too hard." Sarah took small bites. Everything tasted like heaven. Roasted chicken, fresh bread, vegetables in butter, sweet pastries for dessert. She tried not to eat too quickly, tried to remember her manners. Matthias watched her with a small smile. She ate like someone who had been hungry for a long time. It made his heart ache. "Tell me about yourself," he said. "Where did you come from? What was your life before the palace?" Sarah set down her fork. She wiped her mouth with a napkin. "There is not much to tell, Your Majesty. I am the daughter of a merchant. My mother died when I was young. My father remarried when I was 10. My stepmother never liked me. When my father died 2 years ago, she sold everything and sent me away. I have been working where I can ever since." "Do you have any siblings?" "2 stepsisters. They were always beautiful and charming. My stepmother doted on them. I was the ugly one, the one who did not belong." "You are not ugly," Matthias said firmly. Sarah gave him a sad smile. "You are kind to say so, Your Majesty, but I know what I am. I have accepted it." "You see yourself through their eyes," Matthias said. "But they were wrong. You are not ugly. You are not worthless. You are not a burden." How can you know that? Sarah asked. You have only just met me. I have dreamed of you for a year, Matthias said. In my dreams you are kind, you are warm, you try to comfort me even though you are just a dream. That tells me who you are inside, and inside is what matters most. Sarah felt tears prick her eyes. She blinked them back. What about you, Your Majesty? What is your story? Matthias leaned back in his chair. His face grew distant. I lost everyone I ever loved. My mother, my father, my sister. I learned that caring for people means watching them die. So I stopped caring. I focused only on my duty, on the Empire. I told myself that was enough. But it was not, Sarah said softly. No, Matthias agreed. It was not. I was empty. Every day felt the same. Meetings, documents, decisions. No joy, no warmth. Just duty. That sounds very lonely, Sarah said. It was, Matthias admitted. Then the dreams started, and suddenly I had something to look forward to, even if it was just in my sleep. Even if it was not real, or so I thought. Their eyes met across the table. Something passed between them. A recognition, a connection. They were two people who understood loneliness. Two people who had been searching for something they could not name. I am glad you found me, Sarah said quietly. Even if I do not understand it, even if I am afraid, I am glad. I am glad too, Matthias said. His voice was rough with emotion. More glad than you know. They spent hours talking that night, about small things and large things, about favorite colors and childhood memories, about fears and hopes and dreams beyond the ones that brought them together. Sarah learned that Matthias loved books, but rarely had time to read them, that he played the piano but had not touched one in years, that he missed his sister most of all, that he sometimes walked the gardens at night because sleep would not come. Matthias learned that Sarah loved flowers and knew all their names, that she could sew beautiful things even though her own clothes were always plain, that she had once dreamed of owning a small shop where she could sell her creations, that she was afraid of thunderstorms and loved the sound of rain. When the clock struck midnight, they both startled. So much time had passed without them noticing. I should let you rest, Matthias said. You must be tired. I am not tired at all, Sarah said. It was true. She felt more awake and alive than she had in years. Nor am I, Matthias admitted. But you need to recover your strength. We will talk again tomorrow. Yes, Your Majesty. When we are alone, call me Matthias, he said. Please. Sarah hesitated. That was so informal, so intimate. But he was looking at her with such hope. Yes, Matthias, she said. His smile was reward enough for her boldness. The days that followed fell into a pattern. Sarah and Matthias took breakfast together. They walked in the gardens. They sat in the library and read to each other. They played chess, though Sarah was terrible at it, and Matthias always won. They talked for hours about everything and nothing. The palace staff watched with fascination. Some were happy for the emperor. Others were scandalized. How could he spend so much time with a mere servant? What would the nobles say? What about his duty to marry well and produce an heir? Lord Chancellor Bram watched it all with quiet satisfaction. He had seen the change in Matthias immediately. The emperor smiled now. He laughed. His eyes were no longer empty. Whatever was happening between him and this mysterious young woman, it was healing something broken inside him. Let people talk, Bram told the other advisors. His Majesty is happy. That is all that matters. Sarah felt herself changing too. With proper food and rest, she grew stronger. Her hands began to heal. Her face lost its drawn, tired look. She slept in a soft bed and wore clean clothes. But more than that, she felt valued. Matthias listened to her opinions, asked her thoughts, treated her like she mattered. It was intoxicating and terrifying all at once. One afternoon, they sat by the fountain in the rose garden. The sun was warm. Bees hummed among the flowers. Sarah trailed her fingers in the cool water. "I had this dream last night," she said, "but it was different from before." "Different how?" Matthias asked. He sat beside her on the fountain's edge. Their shoulders almost touched. "You were not lost anymore," Sarah said. "You were smiling, and I was standing beside you. We were both happy." "I had a similar dream," Matthias said. "We were together. We were home." "Home," Sarah repeated. "I have not felt at home anywhere in so long. Not since my father died." "Do you feel at home here?" Matthias asked. His voice was careful. "With me?" Sarah looked at him, really looked at him. At the man behind the title. At the lonely soul who understood her own loneliness. At the person who had given her back her dignity without asking for anything in return. "Yes," she said, "I do, and that frightens me." "Why does it frighten you?" "Because this cannot last," Sarah said. Tears stung her eyes. "You are the emperor. I am nothing. Eventually, reality will come back. You will have to marry someone important. Someone beautiful, someone worthy of you, and I will go back to being invisible." Matthias took her hand. His fingers wrapped around hers. It was the first time he had touched her like this. The first time their skin had met in waking life. It felt like fire and ice, and coming home all at once. "What if I told you that I am falling in love with you?" Matthias said. His voice shook. "What if I told you that these past weeks have been the happiest of my life? What if I said I do not want this to end?" Sarah's breath caught. "You cannot love me. You barely know me." "I have known you for a year in dreams," Matthias said. "And I have known you for weeks in waking. That is more than enough. I love your kindness. I love your strength. I love the way you see beauty in small things. I love the way you make me feel alive." "I am not beautiful," Sarah protested. Tears ran down her face now. "I am not clever or charming. I am not worthy of an emperor's love." "You are beautiful to me," Matthias said fiercely. He reached up and wiped her tears with his thumb. "You are beautiful and strong and brave and kind. You are everything I have been searching for, and I refuse to let you go." "The court will never accept me," Sarah said. "Your advisors will say I am unsuitable. The nobles will laugh. I will bring you shame." "Then let them laugh," Matthias said. "I have spent 10 years doing what everyone else wanted, following duty, ignoring my heart. I am done with that. I choose you. I choose us." Sarah shook her head. She was crying too hard to speak. Part of her wanted to believe him, wanted to throw caution away and trust that love could conquer all. But she had learned harsh lessons about her place in the world. Dreams did not come true for people like her. "I am afraid," she whispered. "I am so afraid." Matthias pulled her close, let her cry against his shoulder. His arms wrapped around her and held her like she was precious, like she was something worth protecting. "I am afraid too," he admitted. "I am afraid of losing you. I am afraid of being alone again. But I am more afraid of not trying. Please, Sarah, take a chance with me. Let me love you. Let yourself be loved." Sarah clung to him. She breathed in the scent of him, felt the solid warmth of his body. This was real. He was real. His love was real. Maybe she was allowed to have something good after all. "Yes," she said against his shoulder. "Yes, I will try." Matthias pulled back just enough to see her face. His eyes searched hers. "You mean it?" "I mean it," Sarah said. "I am terrified, but I mean it." He smiled. It was the most beautiful thing she had ever seen. Then, slowly, giving her time to pull away, he leaned in and kissed her. It was soft and gentle and sweet. It was everything a first kiss should be. It was the dream made real. When they pulled apart, both were smiling through tears. "I love you," Matthias said. "I know it is too soon. I know I sound like a madman, but I love you." "I love you too," Sarah whispered. The words felt strange and wonderful in her mouth. "I think I have loved you since the first dream." They sat by the fountain until the sun began to set, hand in hand, heart to heart, two lonely souls who had found each other against all odds. But happiness, as Sarah had learned, was a fragile thing, and there were those who would do anything to shatter it. The announcement came 3 days later. Emperor Matthias requested the presence of the full court for an important declaration. Rumors flew like wild birds. What could it be? A new war, a new tax, a treaty. Sarah watched from a balcony as the throne room filled with nobles, ladies in silk gowns, lords in fine coats. Everyone who was anyone in society had come to hear what the emperor would say. Matthias had asked her to watch from above. He said he wanted her safe while he made his declaration. She had agreed, though her stomach churned with nerves. Lord Chancellor Bram stood beside the throne. He knew what Matthias planned to say. He had tried to counsel caution, but Matthias had made up his mind. "Your Majesty," Bram said quietly before the announcement began. "Are you certain about this? The court will be in uproar." "I have never been more certain of anything," Matthias replied. "She is my future. Let them say what they will." Bram sighed but nodded. He had served Matthias long enough to know when the emperor could not be swayed. Matthias stood before his court. Every eye was on him. He looked up briefly and caught Sarah's eye where she watched from the balcony. She gave him a small, frightened smile. He drew strength from it. "I have gathered you here to make an announcement," Matthias said. His voice carried through the throne room. "An announcement about my future, and the future of the empire." The crowd leaned forward. This was it. "I have found the woman I intend to marry," Matthias continued. "Her name is Sarah. Some of you may know her as a servant who worked in this palace, but I know her as the woman who has brought light back into my life. I love her, and I will make her my empress." Silence. Absolute silence. Then chaos. Voices erupted all at once. Shock, outrage, disbelief. A servant, an empress. Had the emperor lost his mind? This was unthinkable, impossible, a scandal beyond measure. Lady Cordelia, one of the most powerful noble women at court, pushed to the front. Her face was red with rage. "Your Majesty, surely you jest," she cried. "You cannot marry a common servant. What of your duty to the empire? What of alliances with other kingdoms? What of propriety?" "I am well aware of my duty," Matthias said coldly, "and I have decided that my duty includes my own happiness. I will marry Sarah. That is final." "But she is nobody," another noble shouted. "She has no family, no title, no breeding. She is not fit to be empress." "She is fit in the ways that matter," Matthias said. His voice was steel. "She is kind. She is good. She is everything this court could use more of." From the balcony, Sarah watched in horror as the court tore apart her character. They called her a schemer, a gold digger, a witch who had enchanted the emperor. Some said she should be driven from the palace. Others said worse. She felt sick, This was exactly what she had feared. She had brought shame to Matthias. She had become a source of ridicule and anger. She turned and ran from the balcony. She ran through corridors, not knowing where she was going, just needing to escape. Tears blinded her. She could not breathe. She found herself in the gardens, at the fountain where Matthias had kissed her. That beautiful moment now felt like a lie. She sank down on the fountain's edge and let herself break. This was madness. She could not marry the emperor. The court would never accept her. She would make his life miserable. She would be mocked and hated every day. And worse, she would bring that hatred down on him too. She loved him too much to let that happen. By the time Matthias found her, the sun was setting. She sat by the fountain, tears dried on her face. She looked empty, defeated. "Sira," Matthias breathed. He rushed to her side and took her hands. "I am sorry. I should have warned you how they would react, but it does not matter. We will face them together." "No," Sira said. Her voice was flat. "We will not." Matthias froze. "What do you mean?" "I cannot marry you," Sira said. She pulled her hands from his. "I cannot be your empress. I will only bring you pain and shame." "You bring me joy," Matthias said desperately. "You bring me life." "I bring you scandal," Sira said. She stood and stepped back. "The court hates me. They will never accept me, and they will hate you for choosing me. I cannot let that happen." "I do not care what they think," Matthias said. He stood and reached for her. "I only care about you, about us." "You should care," Sira said. Tears started again. "You are the emperor. You need their support, their loyalty. You cannot rule alone." "Then we will win them over," Matthias said. "We will show them who you truly are. They will learn to love you as I do." "They will never love me," Sira said. "I am not one of them. I will never be one of them. And every day I stand beside you, I will remind them that you chose wrong." "I chose right," Matthias said fiercely. "You are right for me. You are right for the empire. We need more people like you, people with heart, people with compassion." "I am leaving," Sira said. The words came out choked. "Tonight, before this goes any further, before I hurt you more than I already have." "No," Matthias grabbed her arms, not hard, but firm, desperate. "No, you cannot leave. I will not let you." "You cannot stop me," Sira said. "I am not your prisoner." "But you are my love," Matthias said. His voice broke. "You are my heart. How can I let you walk away from that?" "Because you love me," Sira said. She reached up and touched his face. "Because you know I am right. We were foolish to believe in dreams. Dreams are not real. Reality is hard and cruel. And reality says people like me do not get happy endings." "Yes, they do," Matthias said. Tears ran down his face now. "They do when people are brave enough to fight for them. Please, Sira, do not give up on us." Sira wanted to stay. Every part of her screamed to stay, to fight, to believe that love could win. But fear was stronger. Fear of being hurt. Fear of being mocked. Fear of dragging Matthias down with her. "I am sorry," she whispered. "I am so sorry." She pulled away from him and ran. Ran from the garden. Ran from the palace. Ran from the only home and love she had ever truly known. Matthias sank to his knees by the fountain. He put his face in his hands and wept. For the first time since his sister died, he let himself break completely. He had found her, found his dream made real, and he had lost her just as quickly. The palace felt empty without her. Matthias went through his days like a ghost. He attended meetings, signed documents, made decisions, but inside he was dying. At night he did not dream anymore. The dreams had stopped the moment Sarah left, as if his soul knew there was no point in showing him what he had lost. Lord Chancellor Brem watched him with worry. "Your Majesty, you must eat. You must rest. You cannot go on like this." "Why not?" Matthias asked. His voice was hollow. "I have my duty. Is that not enough?" "You know it is not," Brem said gently. "You need to find her. Bring her back." "She does not want to be found," Matthias said. "She made her choice." "She made it out of fear," Brem said. "Not out of lack of love. She loves you. Anyone can see that. But she is terrified of failing you, of not being enough." "She is more than enough," Matthias said. "She is everything." "Then tell her that," Brem urged. "Go to her. Fight for her. Show her that you are not giving up." Matthias looked at the old chancellor. "What if she still says no?" "Then at least you tried," Brem said. "At least you fought. But I think she is waiting for you to show her that she is worth fighting for." Hope flickered in Matthias's chest. Small and fragile, but there. "Where would she have gone?" he asked. "I do not know," Bram admitted. "But I know someone who might." Greta, the lady's maid, who had cared for Sarah, was brought before the emperor. She curtsied nervously. "Your Majesty, do you know where Sarah went?" Matthias asked. "Please, I need to find her." Greta hesitated. "I am not supposed to say, Your Majesty. She made me promise." "Please," Matthias said. His voice cracked. "I love her. I need to bring her home." Greta looked at the broken man before her. He was the most powerful person in the realm, but he looked like a lost boy. "She went to the old temple outside the city," Greta said. "The one dedicated to the goddess of dreams. She said she wanted to go back to where it all started." Matthias was moving before Greta finished speaking. He called for his horse. He rode through the palace gates as the sun rose. He did not care about protocol or guards or propriety. He only cared about finding Sarah. The temple sat on a hill overlooking the city. It was old and mostly forgotten. Ivy grew over its walls. The roof had holes, but it was peaceful, quiet. Sarah sat inside on the stone floor. Candles burned around her. She had come here to pray, to ask the goddess why she had been given a dream only to have it snatched away, to try to understand why love had to hurt so much. She heard footsteps behind her. She turned and saw Matthias standing in the doorway. He was breathing hard from his ride. His clothes were dusty. His hair was wild. He looked like he had ridden through hell to get here. "How did you find me?" she asked. "It does not matter," Matthias said. He walked toward her. "I found you. That is all that matters." "You should not have come," Sarah said. She stood. "I told you, it is over." "No," Matthias said. "It is not over. It will never be over. Not unless you look me in the eye and tell me you do not love me." Sarah's breath caught. "Matthias, tell me," he demanded. "Tell me you do not love me. Tell me the dreams meant nothing. Tell me these weeks together were a lie. If you can say that and mean it, I will leave. I will never bother you again." Sarah opened her mouth, but no words came, because she could not say it. It would be a lie, and she could not lie to him. "I do love you," she whispered. "I love you so much it hurts." "Then why did you leave?" Matthias asked. He took her hands. "Why are you giving up on us?" "Because I am afraid," Sarah said. Tears flowed freely. "I am afraid of not being enough. I am afraid of ruining your life. I am afraid that one day you will wake up and realize you made a mistake. The only mistake I made was letting you run, Matthias said. Sarah, you are enough. You have always been enough. You are more than I deserve. The court will never accept me, Sarah said. They hate me. Then we will change the court, Matthias said. Or we will ignore them. I do not care. All I care about is you. Please, Sarah, come back with me. Marry me. Let me spend the rest of my life showing you how much you are loved. What if I fail? Sarah asked. Her voice was small. What if I am not good at being empress? Then we will learn together, Matthias said. He cupped her face in his hands. I have been emperor for 10 years. I am still learning. We will make mistakes, but we will make them together. And that is better than being perfect and alone. Sarah looked into his eyes. She saw truth there. She saw love. She saw a man who had ridden through the dawn to find her, who had stood before his court and declared his love despite their fury, who had never once made her feel less than she was. Maybe she was worth fighting for. Maybe love was worth fighting for. Yes, she said. Yes, I will come back. I will marry you. Joy broke across Matthias's face. He pulled her close and kissed her. It was desperate and sweet and full of relief. It was the kiss of two people who had almost lost everything and found it again. When they pulled apart, both were crying and laughing at the same time. I am still afraid, Sarah admitted. So am I, Matthias said. But we will be afraid together, and that makes all the difference. They rode back to the palace side by side. As they passed through the city, people stopped and stared. The emperor and his chosen bride. A scandal, a romance, a fairy tale come to life. Some people sneered, but others smiled, especially the common folk, who saw themselves in Sarah, who saw hope in the idea that love could cross any divide. When they reached the palace, the court was waiting. Lord Chancellor Bram stood at the front with a smile on his weathered face. Welcome home, Your Majesty, he said to Matthias. Then, bowing to Sarah, welcome home, my lady. Lady Cordelia pushed forward. Her face was tight with disapproval. Your Majesty, surely you have not truly brought her back. Surely you see reason now. I see reason perfectly, Matthias said. He dismounted and helped Sarah down from her horse. He kept her hand in his. I see that this woman is my future. She will be your empress, and you will treat her with respect. But she is nobody, Lady Cordelia protested. She is somebody to me, Matthias said. His voice was cold as winter. She is everything to me, and I suggest you learn to accept that. Because she is not going anywhere. Silence fell. The court looked at each other. Some were angry, some were confused, but slowly, one by one, they began to bow, to curtsy, to acknowledge that the emperor had made his choice. They might not like it, but they would accept it, because the alternative was losing the emperor's favor, and no one wanted that. Bram stepped forward again. Perhaps we should plan a wedding, Your Majesty. Yes, Matthias said. He looked down at Sarah with a smile. The grandest wedding the empire has ever seen. I want everyone to witness my joy. Sarah squeezed his hand. She was still afraid, still uncertain, but she was here. She was home, and she was loved. That was enough. The wedding took place 3 months later. It gave Sarah time to adjust to her new life, to learn court etiquette, to meet with advisors and understand what being empress would mean. It was hard. She made mistakes. She stumbled over protocols, but Matthias was always there, patient, encouraging, loving. And slowly the court began to warm to her. They saw how she treated servants with kindness, how she visited the sick and poor, how she asked questions and truly listened to answers. She was not what they expected, but maybe that was a good thing. Lady Cordelia remained cold, but others began to defend Sera, to say that perhaps the emperor had chosen wisely after all. On the wedding day, Sera stood in her chambers wearing a gown of ivory silk. It was covered in tiny pearls that caught the light. Her hair was dressed with flowers. She looked like a princess from a story. Greta dabbed at her eyes. "You look beautiful, my lady." "I am terrified," Sera admitted. "All brides are," Greta said. "But you love him, and he loves you. That is all that matters." There was a knock at the door. Lord Chancellor Brahm entered. He smiled warmly. "Your Majesty asked me to give you this," he said. He handed her a letter. Sera opened it with trembling hands. Inside was a note in Matthias's handwriting. "My dearest Sera, I dreamed of you last night, for the first time since you returned. In my dream, we were old and grey. We sat together in the garden, holding hands. We were still in love, still together, still home. That is my promise to you. 50 years from now, 60 years, 100 years, I will still be looking at you with wonder, still grateful that the gods sent me dreams of you, still loving you with everything I am. Thank you for taking a chance on a foolish emperor's heart. Yours always, Matthias." Tears slipped down Sera's cheeks. She folded the letter carefully and held it to her heart. "I am ready," she said. The ceremony was held in the great cathedral. Every seat was filled. Nobles, merchants, soldiers, even common folk were allowed inside to witness. This was a wedding for all the empire. Sera walked down the aisle alone. She had no father to give her away, no family to stand with her, but she walked with her head high. She was not alone. She had Matthias waiting at the altar. She had the chance for a new life, a new family, a new beginning. Matthias watched her approach with tears in his eyes. She was the most beautiful thing he had ever seen, not because of the dress or the flowers, but because she was real, because she was his. They spoke their vows before the gods and the empire. They promised to love and honor each other, to face whatever came together, to build a life based on respect and tenderness and truth. When the priest declared them married, Matthias kissed his bride. The cathedral erupted in cheers. Even those who had doubted smiled, because love was a powerful thing, and this love was real and deep and impossible to deny. At the wedding feast, Matthias stood and raised his glass. "I want to thank you all for being here today, for witnessing the best decision I have ever made. My wife is not what anyone expected, but she is exactly what I needed. She is what the empire needs. A reminder that worth comes from the heart, not from titles or blood. I love her, and I hope you will learn to love her too." Sera stood beside him, tears streaming down her face. She raised her own glass. "I never dreamed I could have a life like this. I never believed I was worthy of such love. But Emperor Matthias showed me that I was wrong. He showed me that everyone deserves kindness and respect. Everyone deserves a chance. I promise to serve this empire with all my heart, to be the best empress I can be, and to love my husband every day for the rest of my life." The hall erupted in applause. Glasses were raised, toasts were made, music played, and people danced late into the night. As Sera and Matthias waltzed together, he leaned close and whispered, "Are you happy?" "More than I ever thought possible," Sera whispered back. "Good," Matthias said, "because this is only the beginning. Years passed. Sira proved to be a beloved empress. She opened schools for orphans. She created programs to help the poor. She listened to people's problems and worked to solve them. The empire prospered under her influence. Matthias ruled with wisdom and strength, but he always consulted his wife. He valued her opinion, her insight, her compassion. They had 3 children. The boy with his father's grey eyes and his mother's kind heart. Twin girls with their mother's dark hair and their father's serious nature. The palace rang with laughter and love. The dreams never returned. But they did not need to anymore. The dream had become reality. On their 10th wedding anniversary, Matthias and Sarah walked in the garden where he had first kissed her. Their children played nearby, chasing butterflies. "Do you ever regret it?" Matthias asked, "Giving up your quiet life for all this chaos?" Sarah laughed. "Not for a single moment. Do you regret choosing a servant girl over a princess?" "I chose a queen," Matthias said. He pulled her close. "I chose the woman who made me believe in dreams again. I chose love, and I would make that choice 1,000 times over." Sarah kissed him softly. "I love you." "I love you too," Matthias said. "My empress. My dream. My home." They stood together as the sun set over the garden. 2 people who had been lost and alone. 2 people who had found each other through impossible dreams. 2 people who had fought for their love and won. The empire prospered. Their children grew strong and kind. And every night when they lay down to sleep in each other's arms, they were grateful. Grateful for dreams that led them to each other. Grateful for the courage to fight for love. Grateful for the life they had built together. The emperor had dreamed of a woman each night, until she arrived claiming he was the dream, and in the end, they both discovered the truth. They were each other's dreams come true, and that was the greatest magic of all.